Alright, let me make sure this thing's even fucking working. Yeah, we're good. Alright, been a while. Let's try the phone camera again. You know, as crazy as it is to get all the fancy shit with the lenses and the fast aperture and, you know, S-Log 3 for anybody who, you know, that needs anything too. It's all diminishing fucking returns. Right? So it's kind of cool. You got a damn video camera right there in your pocket, you know. So that's something I've gotten a bit more of an understanding about, like as time has passed. Because now, I've got a pretty solid history of, you can almost say just like self documentary work. You know, it's like I got this thing I'm doing. You know, I want to be able to record it, look back on it, kind of show it off in a way. So, odds are, not even odds are, there are definitely some fucking freaks out there in the bodybuilding scene. And not even just that, but just like regular fucking life where, you know, somebody might have a crazy ass, like gun arsenal, or they're like insane, like hobbyist in some kind of detailed whatever. You know, there's a million niches out there. So if you know somebody who's got a little bit of something that they might have a bit of a screw loose about, odds are they could potentially do kind of well. Posted about that shit, you know. So it's something to keep in mind. So you know, come New Year's, that's something which I love seeing. Because I go through so many different rabbit holes. I think I've got a good mix of, like, I don't know what a good description would be, but, you know, you go down a million different YouTube, whatever else, from, like, what is that, Tony the Machinist? I don't know, something, but just, like, all sorts of everything. These videos don't just show up, right? People gotta make them. So if you know somebody who's just a goddamn expert at whatever, maybe it's time to start posting about that stuff. It's been a while since I've referenced it, but I never posted anything for fucking years. I don't really want to either. I kind of had a bit of an anti-influencer vibe. It's like, what do you got to bring a tripod in the gym? Why not just work out because you want to? You know, so kind of like, I think like a year before I started posting anything, if you would have told me I was going to be posting shit all the time, I would have, I probably would not have believed you. But I'm probably freaking out now. It's nuts. So, plan for tonight's lift, or I guess you could say today's lift. It's only 2:30. Oh shit. Back. Pull downs, rows, pullovers. And that's basically the gist of it. You can do a little bit of a combination where it's like, I've got a couple movements where I like having a lat focus, like pull down, stretch, and then I lean back into more of like a rowing squeeze. But for the most part, that's it. You know, like arms, you got extensions, overhead, and regular. I guess you could say skull crushers are kind of in between. And then you got curls, shoulders, you got side laterals, front raises, front press, and then rear delt work. Chest, pressing and flies, quads, pressing and leg extensions, hamstrings, laying curls, seated curls, RDLs, the adductor machine, the hip thrust if you're into that, and that's basically it, you know. So it's like every muscle group, as much as there is like an insane arsenal of different movements that you can pick from and different exercise execution styles, it's like, you know, don't forget, all you're doing when you do like an incline hammer strength press versus like an incline like Arsenal press, I'm saying Arsenal a lot here, or like a regular Smith press or like a cable press, is, you know, it's at a different angle, but it's all just this, you know. If you were to somehow analyze the your muscle activation with like all the electrical impulse pads and everything else, there's going to be a minor difference. Like, I'm sure, now that would be something I'd be interested in seeing, like an exercise scientist try to guess what movements were, you know, being done by somebody just by looking at the graph of like contractions. Because on something like a chest press, you're going to be seeing the most signals fired at the bottom, where it's the heaviest and the hardest, and then those signals should start to fade a little bit at the top because this is the resting position. And some machine presses are almost the opposite, where it's lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top. So, I'm not trying to say there's no value to like changing it up. Obviously, there is. Like that's not something to be discussed pretty much. But there's no need to overcomplicate it either. So a lot of stuff, the answer lies somewhere in between. I probably wouldn't recommend that you only ever do flat bench and the pec deck machine. But I also probably wouldn't think that you should do 10 different movements every chest day. So that's where I like breaking it down into the core components of just what movements can you even do for that muscle. Stick to them, and then, plug in and out certain versions. So maybe I don't feel like doing regular lat pull downs, do some single lat pull downs. Maybe I don't feel like doing a pullover machine, or I just don't have a pullover machine in my gym. All right, I'm going to do single arm cable pullovers, or maybe barbell rows. Well, not even maybe. I don't want to do barbell rows right now because I don't want to over stress my lower back and my glutes and my hamstrings. Because a bent over barbell row is, yeah, sure, I'm getting some good lat, trap, back activation, but I'm also loading my entire posterior chain. So stimulus to fatigue ratio, it's not there, right? I'm trying to work my lats and my traps. I don't need my glutes, my lower back, my erectors, my hamstrings, even my quads just from like holding myself up in a bent position. I don't need them drawing away any energy. So for the most part, I'm going to lean towards maybe some chest supported rows, or more seated cable rows. Like, even though you do support yourself with your feet on the pad, it's not the same as like with a barbell when you're really bent over. And I guess half of that is because I don't have to hold up my body weight because I'm sitting sideways, not like bent over vertically. But what I'm getting at is, for back, I want to pump my entire back up. Maybe go easy on the lats if like I can still feel they're a little sore from the last back day. For the most part, it's like, okay, I want my lats pumped, my traps pumped, and I want to do it in the only ways I know how: rows, pull downs, and pullovers. So if that's all I've got at my disposal, then maybe I'll start 2 sets of rows, move on to a few sets of pull downs, one more set of rows, and then like a set of pullovers at the end just to kind of finish it off. Or maybe do that in the complete opposite manner. Start with some light squeezing pull downs, and then move on to like some rowing action, and then finish with burnout sets of or pullovers, I meant to say at the beginning, and then finish with a burnout set of like pull downs. Like there's so many different ways to go about it, and I really hope that doesn't seem like oh, there's so many ways to do it, I don't know which one I should do. It's like, dude, it's it's gonna be fine either way. So like what I was getting at, how I wouldn't recommend you only did like 2 movements every lift, the exact same movement. It's probably not ideal. You're physically only stimulating yourself in the same way every time, but it would still work. I mean, if you see somebody who only trains like heavy flat bench, squat, and deadlift, like a power lifter, of course they've got their accessory work too, but those are their main lifts. Guess what? These guys still fucking make gains. So it's almost half like change it up for the sake of more stimulus, but there is a totally balanced half of that equation where it's like, just change it up because changing it up is fun and you're going to enjoy it more and you're not going to get bored. Like, that's the last thing I ever want to hear when somebody's talking to me about their training, or I see I see some comments talking about it and the guy's like, I'm just getting really bored of this workout split. I want to change. Like, it just doesn't like compute for me. I've never really ran into that, and maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm like a nutcase about it or something. But like I guess I never really did push pull legs. I was always more of like legs, chest and back, arms, and I would just repeat that. Now I do legs, chest, back, arms, shoulders in there sporadically. But I don't think I really ever got to a point where I was like bored of the workouts, because every workout was always a little bit different from the last one. So I think half of the motivation for guys to think like, okay, I think I need to change up my workout split. These workouts are getting real boring and repetitive. I might be more inclined to think, well, are your workouts repetitive? Are you doing the exact same stuff? Like, just because it worked for the last few months doesn't mean that you only have to do heavy pressing first for chest and then save flies for the end. I've been victim to that for a while. Like, in my mind, I'm like, well, I want to press as much weight as I can when I'm fresh. So I should do my pressing first, which usually I still do. But, if I feel like it, maybe I'll change it up, do some lighter squeezing flies first, acting almost more as a primer kind of set, and then moving on to heavy pressing later, which, I mean, I guess I haven't really asked around enough about it, but I haven't noticed like insane strength loss after doing like 2 sets of pec deck and then 2 sets of incline press. Maybe a little bit on the back end of your endurance of the reps. Like you might get 10 instead of 12, but you're already on your way to being fully pumped. And then you get the benefit of like pre-exhausted pressing. So that's where I guess my main point of this little car talk now. It's like try to change it up. Not even like don't be afraid to change it up. Like just period, change it up. Maybe do an arm day where you superset everything. Tricep set, bicep set, tricep set, bicep set. Don't be concerned with like making sure the workout's absolutely perfect. Because when you're trying new shit, you're basically experimenting. So, control what you can control and then see what happens with the rest of it. So if you've never done like a superset arm day and you want to see what it's like, all right, tell yourself, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure the sets like go hard and then see what happens. Right? And I think that's kind of a tricky point because there's a sense of like, okay, well, I don't really know what I'm doing yet because this is new and I haven't really tried this before. And it's like, if you're afraid to do what you've never done, then you're never going to get anywhere that you've never been, right? So, who cares? Worst case scenario, yeah, what the hell were you guys talking about? Supersetted arm workouts. I'm sticking to straight triceps and straight biceps. You guys are nuts. Best case scenario, that was the craziest arm day of my life. I'm throwing that superset workout into my rotation. That was awesome. You can't go wrong, right? You either get a new workout that you want to try again, or you just learn one that you don't like, and now the pool that you've got to try shit from has just gotten one workout smaller, and then you can try some new shit. So that's where I really hate to see the clips where guys just straight up record somebody else in the gym doing a set. Like not only are you just nuts, like what the fuck, but it's it's just instilling this like peer pressure of, okay, I need to make sure I do everything perfectly so that when I do this set of curls, all the guys next to me think I know what I'm doing. Dude, whatever, right? I mean, if I was doing a really funky set of something, like maybe I'm doing some half swinging, like single arm cable press with like a fly negative, or I don't know, just something. Or I'm like doing assisted reps where I'm holding my other hand like that. Sure, it might look kind of funky, but if I can feel my chest firing like crazy, and I'm getting pumped, and I'm getting fatigued, and I can tell that like I'm just going hard and this shit's working, then who cares what it looks like, right? So it's almost the ends justify the means. So do you really have to like you're just adding roadblocks to your training if you're not only worried about like trying to make sure you do shit which works, but also I don't want to venture out of my comfort zone because then the guy next to me is gonna like whatever. And don't worry about that. I've never really seen anybody do that much, but if they do, that's on them. That's just fucking stupid. But either way, I'm a little bit of a longer rant here, but let's just get this back day started. Yeah. Yeah. on for that one. But what I was saying was, like, as much value as there is in a set where it's a 2-second controlled concentric, a 1.5-second hold, and a 4-second eccentric, all with completely perfect form. That set, my hands already feel noticeably more pumped after just one. So it's not like, and I think the idea of even thinking about it like that, it's strange, like, one set to fucking rule them all. It won't be nuts. You know, you're not going to approach every muscle group even close to the same way. You know, you're really training your side delts with the same like force leverages that you do for heavy pressing the quads. Not exactly. And then even more detailed, like the specific fibers and every other like ratio of shit from your myonuclei to fast, slow twitch of like your calves versus like there's a lot of room for not error, but like variability. So, you know, I think a good balance for every heavy nasty set. Have a clean control, you know, the yin and yang, and not a good and evil. Right? Think about it. But 2 more here. Same weight, same everything. Yeah. Oh my God. All right, I have got some words to say about that lift. For one thing, very good. And honestly, the prep was like whatever. You know, like I was hydrated. I definitely drank enough water. Part of that came from a Powerade Zero. I go to the gas station when I was filling up, but still, electrolytes, fluids. But yeah, I mean, even like just half an hour ago, my stomach was feeling kind of fucking weird. I didn't even eat anything strange, I don't know. But either way, I mean, good amount of sleep, hydrated, pre-workout, reasonable height. The gym was a little more dead today. I wonder if that got me going a little extra. I kind of like a dead gym, but like it comes in waves, you know. I like it to be packed and energized for a while, and then eventually it's like, okay, this is too much. I want like a dead gym. And then after it's dead for a while, I'm like, okay, where are all the people at? You know, but it's, what am I getting at here? But overall, really good. And the hype was there. Something, I think I just picked a good first movement, honestly. Because that first set of single arm pull downs really did it for me. And like, I'm not joking. If I did that back day, only slow, perfectly controlled reps, I don't think it would have been as good. Now, not like objectively in every scenario, but for me specifically, on this specific day, I think that was as close to as good as a pump as I could have gotten. You know, now insert anybody where they're like, well, if you trained in my style, you would have had a way better fucking pump. Yeah, how about you do your way, and I'll do what I've kind of begun to think is a good method for me specifically. And I'm not open to, or no, I am open to new ideas, of course, but I've got like lift upon lift upon lifts of information telling me this works, this gets me fucking pumped. So, I mean, that's pretty fucking useful, right? I mean, your actual own data should supersede anybody else's just, not random, but like, in some cases, random thoughts. But let's, I'm losing my pump as we speak. Let's run through a couple shots here. It's fucking hard to pose with a pump. Not only am I already out of breath, but like pulling my lats open and trying to like stretch them open like that while they're pumped. It's like I'm fucking fighting against myself. Well, let's, there's a few more. Holy crap. Chest veins with no chest pump. Yeah, now, now we're getting somewhere. Let's do a little breath hold with that one. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Okay. I tell you something. Jay's not freaking wrong. But competition wise, I'm not going to be posing right after a full on back pump. So really, I got to get posing done at its own specific like portion of my training, outside cardio and outside the lift. So I got to have a third freaking session. Starting to get serious, goddammit. But let's do one more victory pose. Oh my gosh. Well, that is all. Pumped, sweaty, out of breath, and I am ready to go eat something. What that meal will be, hard to say. Strong potential for canned chicken with mustard though. Gotta start freaking locking this shit in, goddammit. But let's back it up. There we go. Microphone on. We are good. Speaking of that, if you're ever curious about the posting and you're gonna be saying something, audio beats video, right? Your phone camera, but with reasonably clear speech, you are cool. You are cool. But just a little technical tip when I put my videographer hat on, but that's off now. So back, that was a good one. That was extra good. And I'm sure as I get leaner into this next month that I might begin to think otherwise. But honestly, I've reached a point of size, I think, where I almost prefer how I look unpumped when I'm posing. Right? Now what I mean by that is and not chest. Chest I definitely chest needs to come up a touch. So of course I'm gonna like it more when it's pumped. But with quads and maybe not so much triceps, but like quads and hamstrings and back at least, when they're fully pumped and I'm doing like a little pose down in the mirror and everything, they lose some of their definition. Like me doing some back poses in the mirror unpumped, I can see much more fibers kind of creeping through just creeping through, because when you get pumped up, you get like inflated. So it's like if you had a textured balloon or something, and like it had a little bit of like some kind of something on it, and you blew it up like twice as much as it was supposed to, then no matter what shape it was before, it's just going to blow up through your round. The same shit's kind of true with your muscle fibers, right? I mean, you can get some crazy grainy looking quads and pecs and everything else, and like those that Christmas tree where your lats insert into your erectors on your lower back. But when they get extra pumped up, sometimes you're kind of it's a little bit of a give and take of the size and the detail, which not a bad thing. It's fucking cool to have a wide ass like veiny lat spread, but it's also cool doing the morning pose dance as well. So I gotta start getting some of those going. But yeah, that was a good one, and that was yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't explain it per se. Just something about the real hard squeeze and just burning out constant kind of tension. Like those sets felt sweet. Like those sets of cable pull downs, those were working for me. And getting back to what I was saying on the way here, it's like, well, you need to completely straighten your arm and hold it for a second, or else it's not a good set. It's like, you guys are fucking spreading misinformation. I mean, don't as awesome as all the social media is in terms of getting everybody connected and sharing ideas and shit. Like, what do you think the ratio is of good quality information versus like random regurgitated just junk? Because that ratio is in this favor, smaller versus bigger, right? So you kind of have to do a little bit of internal deciphering, right? Because if you just listen to whatever you saw on some post about working out, you'd be doing the stupidest shit ever, right? But if you scan around all the fitness videos and everything else, and you say, okay, this makes legitimate sense to me, I can comprehend it in my mind, yeah, I probably should be training a bit harder on these sets, because if I don't, then I might not be giving myself enough stimulus to induce growth. Okay, well that makes sense. I should push it closer to failure. All right. And then you might see a video where a guy says, well, you should do full body workouts 7 times a week. Okay, that that doesn't click as much. Let me think about it a little bit. Maybe I'm not going to do that, you know. And what I mean by that is like in a muscle growth bodybuilding context. If you took somebody who's never worked out at all and put them on a 7 day a week full body workout routine, and they actually did it, in a year the guy would be a totally different dude, you know. That's like the power of just working out and being active in some kind of like weight based capacity is insane, regardless of whatever that style is. But you know, if you really want to hone in on specific metrics, right, be it size, strength, fucking, I'm not so much of a guy to look for tips about speed and athleticism. You know, maybe watch some more sports specific training videos for that kind of intel. But you know, in terms of just straight up size, here's my bro sciencey approach that I'm thinking. It's like, okay, right, I have to induce a stimulus, the likes of which will be intense enough that my body has to say, whoa, I got to do something about this. And that's me going to the gym, thrashing the hell out of my lats, pumping up my traps, and every other fancy muscle fiber in between. And afterward, in a bulking context, right, my body's like, dude, you just got wrecked. Like, I'm not going to say any specific, like, oh, micro tears, or like simply inducing that kind of weight based fatigue to an extent where you're fully pumped at the end of it and you're still fatigued, you know, and like you feel the residual results of that training. Odds are, if you went like legit hard and you're not lying to yourself, then you probably stimulated your shit. Not to try not to swear as much; it just comes off the cuff, and I can't control it. So you come home, all right. Some damage has been done, whether you want to call it that or whether you want to call it stimulus. Something has been done to your lats. So your body's like, man, I got to repair this stuff. I got to get this stuff back in gear. I mean, I've got like lactic acid buildup and all sorts of myonuclear whatever. Like, I got to do something about this. So you give yourself enough nutrients and food and energy and like basic building blocks, carbs, proteins, fats, where your body's like, all right, I got the workers, I got the gas to run these engines and everything else. Let's put this stuff back together. And I'm basically adapting to a new thing. I want to be better at it. Let's overdo it a little, right? Whoop-de-doo, your lats are now zero.1 ounce bigger than they were before. And that might not be a right, you know, the exact metric. I'm not sure how many. Well, can I do them? I can't do the math. I don't know. Well, either way, you've induced some stimulus, and if you go home, eat, recover, then you're good. Dieting down, pretty similar concept, but instead of, you know, trying to over recover and build new mass, you're just trying to hold on to the mass that you've already built up, and then lose the fat underneath. You know, but you know, that's sort of the idea that I'm getting at. And you can make it more complicated, and you learn about it, and you get into it. But if you can look at it on a basic level like that, then if anything's out of whack, you should have a good indicator of, okay, what is the problem? You know, like you're not suddenly going to completely plateau for no reason at all. Right? You're almost your own detective, like you're your own damn gains detective, where you can look back at all the information and clues and think, okay, I've been training every day, or I've been training 6 times a week, or whatever, consistently for the past 4 months, and I've been going hard, and I'm not joking. So the training is probably solid. Okay, what else? Well, I've been getting about 3 hours of sleep every night the last 4 weeks. That could potentially be part of it. And you know, let's say the guy's he's got enough hydration, he's eating enough food, then you'd probably think the sleep's the issue, right? You got your training, you got your fueling, water and food, you know, calories, and your recovery, your sleep. So if any of those things are off kilter, odds are your gains are going to suffer. So looking at that backwards sort of transitive property, if your gains are suffering, then odds are something in those three little pillars is off. And if you improve them even just a little bit, then you should start to notice, what's the word I'm thinking of? Incremental gains. That's what I meant to say. Something along those lines. So don't just like it's a weird balance of like, obviously go as hard as you can, but don't freak, right? Like if you're doing regular pull downs, or if you got to go to the hotel gym and there's only like 40-pound dumbbells, and this guy's totally in my lane. But if you don't have the most perfect optimal stuff in your gym, whatever, man. Still go hard, still push it, and still make sure that everything you can control, you get after. And before you know it, you're going to be saying the same thing where you're like, well, man, you're not tracking your calories, and you're telling me you're bulking. I just don't believe you. And I tell you what, it's a heavy burden to carry when you have to say that, because sometimes it is that simple. Right? But now I'm really just freaking rambling. I think I've had no dedicated carbs. Ugh. I think I've had no dedicated carbs today. Yeah, I can feel that like every time I diet down and I have a good lift and I burn through some of my like spare glycogen and blood sugar, I can I can tell it makes me a little rambly when I'm in the car. Gets my thoughts a little bit just a touch more jumbled. But either way, I'll have a morning weight update. Well, yeah, tomorrow. What am I talking about? Forgot to weigh myself this morning. I was trying to get after it and go to the cardio extra early, so I accidentally skipped a step. But either way, awesome back day. And now it's just a waiting game. A waiting game, and also not stopping at a... Man, I said this a couple days ago. I don't understand the obsession with crumble, right? Maybe I'm just a Krispy Kreme guy at heart, but it's like too sweet. It's too much. I'd rather stop at Cane's than a crumble. But to each their own. But no sweets in sight for me right now. I got some goals where those do not align. And if you also think you've got some sort of something or other you want to get going, where treats are potentially have to be pushed to the back burner, if not put away completely for a period of time, all I got to tell you, man, is you got to learn how to thug it out, right? Because I mean, it's not easy. You're really fighting your body's urge to just tell you like, oh, eat something. Like this is like, I mean, some guys they can't even control it. It's like it's like your Gollum, where you got the ring voice talking to the back of your head. It's midnight. You get up to get a drink of water. You open the freezer because just something made you open it, and then you see the tub of Ben and Jerry's cookies and cream. Open the lid. Just have a spoonful. Just open the lid. Nobody will know. I've been there, right? Hold strong. That's all I got to tell you. But that's all I got. I will see you for tomorrow for some kind of arm day. Where it ends up being, I can't say for sure, but will I end up completely pumped and veiny? Stating the obvious at that point. So I'll see you then.